Hi everyone. So I want to talk about mentally preparing yourself before you see your client. We spend a lot of time prepping our luggage, making sure we have the checklist of things we need, products, linen, equipment, headbands, the whole nine. We spend a lot of time prepping the night before, the day of. But I find that, at least for me, when I first started, I didn't spend a lot of time prepping myself and grounding myself and connecting to myself. And in the last few years, I realized how important that is. It's so important, especially because as a traveling esthetician, you're providing these mobile services, you're rushing from one place to another, you're constantly driving, you have this like anxiety and stress from just the commute alone. Being in traffic, the traffic lights are so slow, people cut you off, you spill your tea on yourself. I mean, there are so many different things that can happen. Every day is a different day and the craziest things can happen. So I'm just going to pass along, a few things that work for me to help myself get into the space, the right mental space that I need to be in when I meet my client. And even if I'm late, because, I could be, if let's say my client, I'm supposed to be there at 10:30 and I'm just pulling up at 10:32, I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to take the time to do this because it matters that much to me. I notice the changes and the difference from when I do and I don't do it. So what helps me transition out of that state of anxiety, stress, rushing, being just anxious about the time and showing up, and what works for me is to create a moment where I turn off the ignition, I'm sitting in my car, and I'm giving myself 2 minutes. I mean, after you do it for some time, you can do it in like 2 or 3 minutes. But maybe you want to arrive early and then you give yourself 5 or 10 minutes, if you just start to do this, just give yourself time. But I can do it in 2 minutes now. So it's helpful, And I close my eyes. I turn off the ignition. This is before I take out my massage table, my luggage. I'm just in my seat. I close my eyes and I ask myself, how do I want to show up for my client today? What kind of energy do I want to bring? And what kind of lasting impression do I want to leave? And these are the 3 things I always ask myself. And I always say, like, now when I'm driving, I try to do affirmations, especially if you're feeling nervous about anything. It's really helpful to just, if you're feeling like a lack of confidence, for you to say, I'm confident. I create healing energy around me. My hands are fluid. My day flows with ease. I mean, all of these have helped me when I haven't felt like my most confident. But what's more important than saying affirmations to yourself is visualizing. So visualizing takes it to a whole nother level where it actually creates it. And that's what you want, right? So when I'm sitting in my car and I have those 2 to 3 minutes and I'm asking myself those 3 questions, I'm already starting to create the vision in my mind. I'm already starting to see that version of myself, of how I want to show up, of how I want my client to feel, of what kind of energy I want to leave behind. And because I'm seeing myself stepping into that role before it's already happened, the energy around me is already shifting. So I'm already getting out of that anxious state, that stress state, that heightened state, and I'm bringing myself back to my core. I'm bringing myself back to my breath, because breathing's really important too, right? Like when you close your eyes and you take a deep breath. And then you ask yourself, how do I want to show up for my client today? You take another breath. How do I want them to feel? What kind of energy do I want to leave behind? You know, like breathe in between those questions. And that's what brings you back. That's what brings that energy back. And you step out of that heightened state you were in. And it's so important, right? Because they say a person makes up their mind about you in 4 seconds. I mean, that's what I've read. So if this is your first time client, you know, especially, you want to be able to show up in the best version of you, in the best energy you can give, right? Because that, at the end of the day, that is what they remember the most. How they were held and how they felt. On your table, they want to feel held and they want to feel safe. And whatever issues they're going through, whatever's coming up for them, they want to feel safe enough to talk to you about it, but they also want to be held and relaxed and seen and heard, and they want you to be present. And you can't do that as the best version of you if you're still cursing the guy out that cut you off while you were driving there, or the light that pissed you off that took a minute too long. You know, you have to shift out of that mindset and tap back into why you're doing what you're doing. Be present and ground yourself. It's so important. And I'm telling you, that was such a game changer for me, because once I started doing that, my clients just felt at ease. And that's what you want. You want people to feel so good around you that your name just flies out their mouth when they're recommending a treatment, you know? And like, oh yeah, you gotta see Victoria, you gotta see Valerie, you gotta see Judy, you gotta see her. She's amazing. Oh, and it's not even like, yeah, their skin could look amazing, but it's more about how you made them feel. But first, in order for you to show up as that person, you have to show up for yourself. And you have to make that a ritual. You have to make that a practice that you get into every single time you see a client. You have to first tune into yourself. So that's just something that I just wanted to share, because it really was very impactful when I started to practice that on my own. And it's something I wish that someone would have shared with me. So yeah. And for anyone that is still on the edge of their seat wondering if they should take the plunge and start, anyone who's still thinking about schools, anyone who is dealing with fear around starting their mobile business, I'm just here to remind you that you're amazing. And there is a reason why you are drawn to this field. There is a reason why you have passion within you to do this. And you have to listen to that inner voice. And you have to quiet the outside world that tells you you're not experienced enough, you're not good enough, you don't have the money that you want to buy the products that you need. You have to quiet all that chatter, because when you're passionate, when you have passion and you let that guide you, that's all you need. That's all you need. You just got to keep going. It doesn't matter where you are on your journey. Just keep going. Every day, invest a little bit of time. Consistency. You know, even if you have kids and you can't devote a lot of time, you only got 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes right before bed, put the list that you have in your head down on your phone. Give yourself a deadline. I'm going to buy that equipment by Friday next week. I'm going to buy the luggage I need or the massage table. I'm going to reach out to that person and tell them that I'm offering facials. You know, whatever it is, just make that step. If you haven't started and you're just looking at schools, book the tours. Book the tours to go see them. Just start, you know, because you're amazing and you're going to be amazing at doing this. There's a reason why. You're a healer and you have to go out into the world and you have to share your gifts with the world. Don't sit on it just because you're fearful of getting started, or if you are not sure how to get started, reach out to me. I'll put my email down below. You know, I love mentoring people. Reach out to me. I'm happy. I'm so happy if you need guidance to help you. You know, I have this mentorship that I offer where it's like one-on-one for your business, guidance for your business. And it's, you know, it's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure because it can be overwhelming. But don't let it be so overwhelming that you just don't do anything. Because you're amazing. So go be amazing.